too? Can you imagine a Jew with the name Mahmoud? I mean, at the end of the day, you would have to convince these people that their religion was dead. They no longer needed. They simply needed to be Israeli nationalists and more. Because essentially, that's all those Russian and Polish and German Jews had. They weren't interested in religion. They weren't interested in Torah practices. I say this at least once a week. Most of those Jews weren't even circumcised. They had stopped circumcising their sons. And while they make excuses for it today, well, we weren't allowed to. Why am I talking about the exorbitant numbers of assimilated Jews in Germany? The Jews who were a part of the Nazi Party. The European Jews who swore up and down to the Third Reich when they came to take them away, I am no longer a Jew. I am more Nazi than you. It makes sense. And then to look at the state of Israel today, that offers further proof. Individuals no longer want to be Jews. They no longer want to be Torah observant. They want to feel Judaism in their heart and leave it there. But the moment you lose God and the moment you lose Torah, you lose sight of who you really are, of what your Jewish identity really means. And it doesn't mean writing a check to the IDF or AIPAC or anything else. It means being a good person, essentially. I mean, what Jew would you ever expect with the word rabbi before his name to say that every Palestinian baby is a terrorist?
Rabbi Shmuley.
Okay, but look at how
he was already.
That is insanity. When you're looking at this woman, I'm reeling from that. Corinna, whatever her name was, saying, I mean, she gave us a good 2-3 minutes on her background.
Yeah, she did.
The Shoah. You literally have firsthand accounts from your grandmother and your mother about what it took to escape Nazi Germany.
And then create that around the world.
Right. And then when we ask her, hey, do you see Warsaw in the rubble of Gaza? And she's like, not so much.
Purge needs to spread hatred.
She really did. That was insane. I could not believe it. That was really...
Like, it felt like somebody grabbed me in my chest. What? She's like, well, the numbers are not high enough for it to be genocide, you know?
It's definitely genocide. That was...
babies.
After what Trump did, too.
Babies. What the fuck?
It's like, it's like you killed 20,000 people. It's like, no, I only killed 19,995.
Exactly. That, and that's not what Torah teaches. Torah nowhere teaches people to be insensitive or cruel. But, if you are a descendant of raw, meat-eating cave dwellers who have no idea what the warmth of love feels like, who are dog-eat-dog type of people, who kill with impunity, well, then it makes sense.
Not a lie. Europe has proved this. All of Europe thinks they're dominant of the world. France had their hand in it.
Go to somebody else.
Had their hand in it. The UK had their hand in it.
You can go to somebody else's continent and rape fathers, not women, not mothers, rape fathers in front of their sons for 400 fucking years with impunity and never once think it's a bad thing until it's not financially convenient to end it.
Yeah, that's why America and Israel are made it happen.
Imagine Nazi Germany being visited upon any group of people for 400 years, 100 times longer than the actual concentration camps of Germany. And it'd be okay. It'd be all right. It'd be like, what's the matter? These people aren't worthy of dignity or honor. They were meant to be our slaves. Don't you know about the curse of Ham? They're vermin. They're garbage. They're trash. Isn't that what we're saying about Palestinian on public stages today? Ben Gvir? Smotrich? Really? I'm appalled that any person who claims to serve the true and living God could even say some of the things I hear out of their mouths. Go ahead, I'm listening. I'm sorry, hon.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to mention 2 points when you were talking. I was going to say, like, you'd actually be surprised how much in common do Jewish and Muslims have. Even the names, they're very similar to each other. And the other part I was going to say as well is the Orthodox Jew, they are actually against the Zionist movement and also against the state of Israel. It's according to them and according to the Torah, is that they're not supposed to have a state of their own until the coming of the Messiah. So you would see a lot of like Orthodox Jews with Palestinian flags and so on, and literally protesting against the state of Israel, that it goes against their belief.
Can I tell you something? I actually had one of these same idiots tell me that Muslims and Jews pray to a different God.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It got me.
Even Catholics believe in the same God as Muslims and Jews. Maybe a little different story, but they all believe in the same God.
Right. But here's what got me even more. They have no problem buddying up to the Pastor Hagis. They have no problem buddying up to card-carrying real anti-Semites. As long as they're writing those checks, as long as they're taking trips and tours to Israel, we can forget about those crosses that they burnt on Jewish people's lawns.
Well, that's evil and goodness. Spiritual war. People have, they want to profit off of other things instead of the life that was given to us. And that's just how it is. We're just in a spiritual war between evil and goodness.
Muslims cover their heads. Jews cover their heads. Muslim women cover up. Jewish women cover up. Muslims eat a restricted diet. Jews eat a restricted diet. Muslims say Allahu Akbar. Jews say Shema Israel. Muslims believe in one God. Jews believe in one God. What happened?
No, come on. We cannot. It's not even like a matter of debate.
What happened?
Rabban bin Mimun, we cannot, if I'm a Jew, I cannot really, criticize someone like Rabban bin Mimun. Like, he said, you are allowed as a Jew to pray, in a mosque, and to eat their food. And the Muslims historically says, their scholars, the Prophet, not scholars. He said, not the Prophet, to be honest with myself, not the Prophet. But he's they said, there is no debate about this. If I'm someone in Brooklyn and there is some law hey, Muslim, you cannot pray on the streets and there is no mosque, I will get permission. I will ask a Jew synagogue, if they allow me to pray there. That's really the point there. If I won't eat meat and there is no other solution and there is no halal restaurant, I will go to the kosher there. It's we know this. It's not matter of debate. We believe in same God.
But when you talk to certain people from certain places, they don't know anything about that. Do you know that there's probably not one brother, elder, at Al-Taqwa that doesn't know my family or my father or my uncles? My father, God bless him, has 5 daughters and 1 son.
Shout out to Taqwa.
They literally, if I even looked like I was going to the wrong place or walked too far, come here, aren't you Hashim's daughter? Come. At the end of the day, I grew up. I learned a lot of the bad words in Arabic, but I grew up around Yemenites and people from Saudi Arabia and people from Syria and Iraq, some Jews, some not. But doesn't it seem, I'm hoping people are getting this, doesn't it seem like there was a virus inserted into some of these communities and certain these spaces so that people who look just like Palestinians now hate themselves and anyone who looks like them? Isn't that deep? I can't, but when I was in Israel, if there was a Palestinian standing next to an Israeli, an old Sabra Israeli, I couldn't tell the difference until they opened their mouths, because Arabic is a little bit more guttural, right, than Hebrew. Your hat is really a hat. At the end of the day, though, how do individuals of the same family, the descendants of Ibrahim and the descendants of Abraham, now hate each other because of individuals who don't even circumcise their own flesh, much less that of their sons? How is it that people who look like you and me are somehow now at each other's throats because of people who had to look in graveyards to verify their quote-unquote Jewish identity? How is that possible? They can't even claim 3 generations of Torah observance, but you can. Why? Because most individuals who know the Quran know that many of the same laws apply. How did that happen to us? That's the $1 million question. That right there is the $1 million question. How did European ideology influence and infiltrate Muslim and Jewish spaces to the degree where, what was it we saw in those stats? 50% of Israel today is secular and non-Torah observant. You know why these European Jews get nervous and triggered when I speak? Because they know it's the truth. They know that they weren't influenced.
But these European Jews, the survivor of the Holocaust, or the grandson of the survivor of Holocaust, Flinkstein, he is like grandson of survivor, like a son of survivors of Holocaust, and he is European, and he say the truth because he suffered from Nazis, like his parents, not him. So he know what happened in Israel. It's a Nazis. So they know. And before, I know only Flinkstein, like years before. Now I see many like survivors of Holocaust in France, like in many places. They really like speak, like they say we are against Zionists. And what is the argument of the Zionists? What? Self-hate Jews, crazy survivors of the Shoah? What they will say? Really, like what they will say? Nothing.
Honestly, I think, and you see this more and more and more, that individuals who are true descendants of the Shoah, not just people who talk about it, they are anti-Zionist in every way. They do not believe in racial or religious superiority at all. They know what it costs them and their families. Imagine telling someone who lost 10, 15, 20, 30 family members in Warsaw that Gaza is okay. Yeah, you can kill 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 people with impunity. You can do that. Imagine that person who stands and says Kaddish. Kaddish is the prayer that we say over the dead. Imagine that person saying, I lost 6 million. It's okay for you to lose even 6,000, much less 60,000. It's incongruent. It doesn't make any sense unless those who were charged with the responsibility to never forget have developed really convenient memories. A woman who's been raped cannot, under any circumstance, stand by and watch other women raped. She can't do it. Something inside her is going to recoil just at the memory of her own trauma, much less at the idea of her standing idly by while someone else is traumatized in the same way. It's going to sound horrible to say, and I don't even care because it's my truth. We need to remove non-Torah observers from places of decision making. in our religious spaces. Maybe we need to do the same thing in terms of Islam. Any Muslim who's compromised by money and power needs to go. Let it be that the persons who are in leadership and powerful positions, let them be true servants of Allah.
Best believe Netanyahu will be. Yeah, I agree, and I think that'll come to show after everything that's going on comes to an end. Netanyahu, the Zionist, will be going to jail as soon as this ends.
Know where it's been moved to. I don't know what they mean by that, but nobody was blown up to Kingdom Come. At one point, the president compared the U.S. attack to the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, because dropping those bombs ended a war, and dropping these bombs ended a war. So I guess he's comparing himself to Harry S. Truman. But in the impact of this attack, and I think it's something that the United States should be actually